So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our talk show, the Rajendra Mehta Show. And today we have our special guest with us, Mr. Nilashis. And I would say, he's a very awesome person. And we're going to talk more about today. We'll see his journey so far and what are the management skills required to be in data science. So he'll throw some more light on that. So welcome to our talk show, Mr. Nilashis.
Hi Raj, happy to be here.
Yeah. So would you like to talk about yourself, your introduction, what you do, and have you, what was your journey so far? So people who are starting their career, they would be inspired from your journey, and they can fasten up their career.
Sure, yeah, thanks Raj. So let me talk a little bit on my career graph. And so I am here in the industry for almost like 20 plus years.
Awesome.
And I have had experience in variety of domains. Uh, have been plus 15 plus years, I would say. I was there in engineering, core
Uh-huh.
product engineering,
Okay.
and then the last few years I've moved to procurement, and so various types of operations I've gone through, program management, product development, and then of course in the last few years in in procurement. Now all the while, if you see, uh, data analytics or whatever we call it now
Yeah.
has always been there. If I
Right.
look back maybe 20 plus years back or 15
Right.
plus years back when I was in engineering, maybe developing products,
Mm-hmm.
there also we were having to deal with data every day.
Right.
Maybe the way we were looking at data has changed, and that is perhaps we will talk today a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But that has been there in my experience. Being an engineer as a background, like so I'm a qualified engineer. Later on, have done my MBA, and then of course have done a few of the certification courses on data science,
Okay.
to make sure that you hone up the data science skills, etc., to apply. And I'll talk a little bit on that experience also. But overall, if you see, whatever you do, I think data is very, very important. And the more actually in the current world, it is more relevant as we go along, right? And we'll talk a little bit more on how data is helping us, or how data is not able to help us if we are not able to use data properly.
Okay.
So happy to talk through those.
Awesome. So first I wanted to talk, I wanted to know about your education, about your journey so far. You are
Yeah,
into a particular domain. So
yeah,
how was that journey? What are the parameters you have to be in this industry?
yeah. So I think, um, the, if I look back, Raj, I cannot say that the journey was like all planned like
Yeah.
this, right? The way it has happened. So a lot of people I meet nowadays, they say, "Oh, I want to do all of these in the like next 5 years, 10 years." Um, while those are good, but in my experience, you just go through variety of things, right? You just like almost 15 years when I was in engineering, I didn't know after that I will land up into procurement.
Okay.
And so from engineering, I actually moved to engineering operations. From engineering operations, I actually got into procurement, where because in procurement those days we had Cisco. I work in Cisco now. There was a huge engineering operations. I was leading in a part of it, and then slowly, of course, have gone into variety of procurement. Now, and then now, of course, I lead the contingent workforce operations for Cisco globally, worldwide. What I mean by saying that, I think we have to be open to the challenges which has come to you in front of you.
Okay.
I have done it, and then do the best. What I always have believed, that you need to be the best in what work you are doing. And that, I think, if we strive, you'll see excellence in the work. And then of
Uh-huh.
course you have to just keep open to what is coming in front of you, right? And what is there, because in today's world, if you see, 2 years, 3 years down the line, what is going to happen, nobody knows.
Right.
2 years back or 3 years back, we didn't know that the world will be shut down by a pandemic.
True.
Who knew that we'll be all stranded at homes, and a country like India would just go for a full lockdown, everything will
Right.
be closed.
Right.
So things are changing so dynamically.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to keep your options open, keep your oversight outlook open, and then of course do the best in whatever you do.
Rightly says that things are uncertain, we need to deal with that. But as in I have seen that you landed up with an successful career, moving
Yeah,
towards this, I would say sailing this boat to the right
yeah.
direction. So what are the challenges you have faced? Because every individual have their own expertise, their own challenges. So what are the challenges you have faced and how you overcome it? So people would also will get a fair idea about it,
Yeah.
right?
So I will answer that question from you from a data science, data analytics, because that's what I think we are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have had various challenges, but maybe those are for different other times or different other discussions. But
Mm-hmm.
for the data science, if you see, um, I think the first challenge as a management person trying to
Right.
get something out of the data
Right.
is to actually define your problem.
Okay.
What exactly we are trying to solve.
Right.
Most of the times we figured that out, we cannot figure that out. We
Mm-hmm.
just we talk about stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but what happens is when you start thinking about it, that what exactly we are trying to solve, we are not very clear. And in my opinion, or in my experience, the more we get into the the more we can define what is a problem we want to solve, the better would be your solutions, or better would be your the approach towards it. So that's my first problem I have faced, that what are we, because that itself, if you have 5 people in the room, 5 people will have their 5 ideas of what problem we are solving. So if we are working as a team, mostly these are teamwork,
Mm-hmm.
we have to define a common approach or a common vision of the issues what we are trying to solve. The second, I think, is to get data.
Okay.
In companies, if you see, there is so much, there's no dearth of data,
Right.
but getting clean data, that's the second problem. The third, of course, is having people who understands the data,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's very important. You can have a lot of data. I mean, you show me some data of, but if I'm not from the domain, I'll not at all understand
Right.
what that data looks like. The fourth issue, I think, is then actually creating the solution,
Right.
right? Once you do those, doing a coding of it and creating a script of it, I
Yeah.
think there is a lot of talent, right? I mean, there's a
True.
lot of cool engineers who would do it in a very fast way. But
Right.
these things upfront, if we are not clear, what happens is then we do a lot of stuff, then
Yeah.
we realize that, oh, you know what, this is not really giving the insights which we would like to do. So these are
Right.
kind of the initial issues which anybody working as a team or by themselves, look at these three things. Look at what you are trying to solve, right? What is the problem to be solved? Look
Yeah.
at what all data sources you have. Do you understand the data? How can you assimilate the clean data?
Mm-hmm.
Whether data is making sense to you or not?
Right.
These things, if suppose somebody does, then of course there are technical aspects of it, right? The coding
Right.
part of it and all.
Right. So these are the amazing things which you have mentioned, 4 or 5 things. I would say for a leader to be a leader in this particular industry, they must have their skills, business problem solving approach. Then need to know the domain expertise as well, because
Yeah,
where to do what you need to be aware about it,
yeah,
and the direction which need to be given, that would be need to be discussed and come on the one's conclusion or solution. So you are rightly
yeah,
said that
yeah,
we need to be aware about it,
yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah.
So coming into my next question, is there any particular learning patterns you have adopt to be into this particular industry, or it reach to at this particular level, or you use any platform kind of thing to learn these things?
Yeah, so I think what I try to do is go into the basics first.
Okay.
if in my opinion, if suppose somebody's basics are very strong
Yeah.
on the problem you're going to solve or whatever, you start building up. It's like building a house or any sort of thing, right? The
Yeah.
base platform, if it's not strong,
Yeah.
your house will not be very strong, right?
Yeah.
So start from the basics, start understanding, start developing your understanding. Be a subject matter expert.
Okay.
I think that is very important. Be
Mm-hmm.
the and as I think I told a little bit earlier, that be the best in the work you're doing, which is a subject matter expert. If you become a subject matter expert, and it takes time, you have to give
Yeah.
the effort and energy,
Mm-hmm.
time, effort, and energy to do that. But if you can do it, then I think other things are slowly also will get built up.
Right.
As of learning platforms, no, really, I do not want to name one, because there's so many learning platforms. In
Right.
fact, if you now see, uh, with the advent of internet and
Yeah.
all the things, I mean, there's no dearth, right? There's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that okay, only one book or one thing, right? There's so much. In fact, that itself is a challenge, because there's so much of content and so much of reading material available and training. But pick and choose.
Okay.
The other last thing I wanted to tell, and I tell a lot of people a lot of times in my team, and people would come and say, okay, I do want to this certification, and I want to
Right.
do this. Just doing a data science certification or just doing a data science course doesn't make you a data scientist.
Awesome. That's rightly
Very,
said.
very important. Very,
Rightly
very
said.
important. A lot of people will say, oh, I have done this certification. Okay,
Right.
you have done this certification, have you applied it?
Yeah.
Are you using it in your day-to-day job?
Right.
Is your day-to-day job or whatever project you are doing is
Mm-hmm.
aligned to that?
Yeah.
Right, just doing a certification, yeah, after 1 month you'll just forget everything, right? Unless
Yeah.
otherwise you're
Yeah.
using it.
It got
So
evaporated.
absolutely, right, because you're not using it. It's
Yeah.
like any other skill. It's not only data science, any other skill, any
Yeah.
other thing, right? You just learn and then you don't apply. So align all those. Just going through one course will not help. You have to use it. The more you use it, the more you will learn it, the
Right.
more you will make mistakes in doing all of it. Then you
Right.
learn from there. You'll be successful. Anybody will be successful.
Awesome. So that I'll conclude as an word of wise or advice from you, that you need to start with the basic. Doing a
Yeah,
course will not only help. You need to apply that logics which you have learned. You apply those tools and technology to your
yeah,
current project or any project. Then you will get an quite a good confidence over there,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay, so you are into a management, you said, right? So
yeah,
wanted to know that if somebody wanted to start their career, if they wanted to get in placement into different industry, different companies, what do you suggest, that what you prefer or what other leaders would be preferred from them? So
yeah,
it would be useful for a lot of people, I would say. Yeah.
yeah. So I think if you see all these survey and these consulting companies, they are projecting. I mean, I was reading a few places where uh, big numbers where they say that 150,000 jobs
Yeah.
are there's a gap of thinking.
Yeah.
Like you look at all these different surveys by Gartner or Deloitte or some of these people. Now I'll not go into the numbers exactly. I mean, these are big numbers,
Hmm.
but what it means is that there is a gap, there is a need,
Mm-hmm.
but and that's why people are in the data science will be obviously sought after.
Mm-hmm.
But very soon it will happen that if you are not able to meet those needs, um, those will get into some other stream,
You're right.
right? So people who are starting off their career in data science, the one thing is, and I think you also mentioned it, Raj, domain understanding is absolutely important.
Okay.
See, data science is used by various companies,
Right.
starting from the Amazons and the Apples and
Right.
Google and even Cisco to NGOs.
True.
I know for certain NGO like Akshay Patra, the
Mm-hmm.
midday meal scheme, they have used data science, because I was going through I was talking to a IIM professor who
Mm-hmm.
was part of that project, and he was saying that uh, they have used data science to actually analyze and predict their lunch boxes, the lunch, what they have to give to these children. So,
Okay.
so Akshay Patra is the midday meal scheme, right, for children,
Right.
which
Right.
they give. It's an
Yeah.
NGO.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes you will feel that why does an NGO needed? You have to
Yeah.
understand they have to go to hundreds and thousands of schools.
Right.
There is a demand and a supply stuff,
Yeah.
and how many, how much quantity of food, because it's food. If it's not consumed, it will get wasted,
True.
right? And they have to travel, right, from the kitchen, and it has to be warm because there's no place to heat up, right?
Right.
So all that they have used. And when I learned about that case study, I was amazed that a NGO like Akshay Patra has used.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that there are now, the way Flipkart may be using, or
Yeah.
Amazon may be using, or a Walmart may be using, would
Yeah.
be very different than what Akshay Patra has used.
Right.
So the domain is very important to understand,
True.
right? Just data, looking at it, and a statistical model, because statistical models were always there. If you
Always
look
there.
at
Yeah. It's
if you look at
invented in
data,
1950s.
correct? So if you
Yeah.
look at the second or third level of data science inside the different statistical approaches, nothing has changed. It has there from ages.
Right.
What has changed is the application of it, so that we understand data more, right?
Right.
And then you have to then you have to understand the domain, because then you can relate the domain problem, and the solution you are giving. So
Right.
starters, when you're doing, yes, do a certification, or do some specific course, so that
Mhm.
you get the formal education, right? It
Right.
can be in any way, right? You can do a
Right.
course, you can read, whatever. Second is, start developing a domain expertise.
Okay.
Otherwise, you will not be able to apply those concepts, or you will not be able to apply what you have learned in a particular way, or a nice way, or a productive way.
Right.
Third is, I think, important of being relevant, because new technology, new techniques are coming,
Yeah.
right? And how you can utilize those techniques are very, very important.
Right.
I mean, today, for example, for maybe solutioning it one, there could be 5 techniques.
Right.
Now that itself is a technique, or a thing that, which one should I use,
Right.
which is the best, right? Things
Right.
like that. So people, when they're starting, please have your open mind, look at all of these, marry your domain skills with your data science skills, and I think you'll get a lot of success if people go in that path.
Okay, that's great. So at the end of the our show, you wanted to give any tips to any newcomers or learner who wanted to pursue data science or wanted to be in any field? Any
Yeah,
short tips you wanted to give
sure,
them?
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, um, don't pursue data science because it is the next shiny object.
Right.
A lot of times we say, oh, this is a shiny object, this is the best thing, right? And this is what I have to
Right.
do, right? Try out small things.
Yeah.
Try seeing whether you like to delve with data.
Yeah.
It is sometimes overwhelming when you actually see data and try to go in there, and everybody may not be liking it. Somebody else may be doing better in something else. So
Mm.
just because data science is the next best thing, or the currently the most hottest thing in
Yeah.
the industry, don't jump into the bandwagon like that. See whether you have that aptitude. Try to do, like as I said, some educational qualification for that. Try out small projects, see
Mm-hmm.
whether you love that, you have a passion towards it. Because if you have a passion, everything else will come it, right? If you love
True.
to do it in any work, I mean, it's not only data science, but if you love to do it, everything will fall in place.
Right.
Correct? So so try to do that. Don't jump, so saying that, oh, I everybody is doing it, I'll do it. No, I mean, you
Right.
do it, try it out. And if you really feel good about it, if you feel more energetic, you more enthusiastic, and you feel really good about learning data, working on data, getting all these analytic skills done, statistical models done. uh, and the last one thing I would like to say is
Mm-hmm.
how you want to Communication skills are also very important.
Storytelling part and communication skill.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we missed out a little bit on that. I mean, in our
Yeah,
session today. So I want to end up, you can have your best of the technical abilities, you have, provided the analytics, but if you cannot tell the story, if you cannot explain it either to management or your customer or
yeah,
whoever is consuming that thing,
yeah.
I think half of the efficiency or half of the productivity of that will go. I'm
That's
sure,
true.
Raj, you have seen it.
Yeah.
So many times we have done a wonderful job,
Right.
but just that because we somebody is not explaining it properly,
Yeah.
just reduce the efficiency of it. So that would be my last thing, that uh, improve the communication skill, improve the data storytelling, as you said,
Yeah.
because that's kind of the last one thing which is, and that's the last thing which you do, right? Because when you go and
That's
talk,
true.
and
True.
whoever it is, it could be a customer, it could be an
Yeah.
internal customer, it could be, I mean, if it's an external customer and you're selling
Yeah.
something, obviously you better do it because you're getting paid for it. If it's internal customer, they're your own stakeholders, or
Yeah.
for yourself or something else, right?
Right.
So do that part, I would say.
Okay, just a question come to my mind during
Yeah.
our discussion. You are a leader, right? And a lot of people would be reporting to you. So do you, suggest somebody to, or any piece of advice for a current leader who are not in data science, but they wanted to be in data science? So do you suggest them to jump into industry, or do you suggest them to learn and grow? What would be your
Yeah. So for leaders, I think knowledge of basic data science definitely is useful,
okay,
depending on what work they do.
okay,
Um, I think the second piece of the advice is, um, if somebody, and I think it's the same thing, right? I mean, if
hmm.
suppose somebody is not very comfortable with data,
Yeah,
right? Uh, then I mean, I think I must see, every leader has their own
skills,
strengths,
yeah, strength, yeah, true, I agree
right?
with you, yeah,
And I think, like the new HR mantra, they say that you just develop your, or build up your strengths.
right,
If data science or data is not your strength, it is the lowest of your
yeah,
strengths, uh, don't try to overdo and try to build that up, because as I think it has been proved
yeah,
by HBR study, if you go to
yeah,
Harvard Business School study, they've showed that the lowest skills, if you, even if you work very hard, it just improves a little bit.
right,
Your high skills, right, the ones which are at 7 or 8 out of 10,
yeah,
you can do a little bit more and it will go to 9. But the
awesome,
ones which are there at 1 or 2 grading out of a 10,
yeah,
you will work hard and it will just go to 4 maybe.
that's
So why
true,
do that?
yeah,
Said that, yes, every leader, depending on what organization or what group they are,
yeah,
looking at data is important. But uh, just by doing themselves, no. But I think if they're basic, if they know, so
yeah,
that they can consume the output, that
right,
is very important.
they
Like I
can
told,
validate
right?
sometime as well what is given from data
Because they are
scientist or data
supposed to be
engineer,
knowing more
yeah,
on the industry, because
yeah,
they have spent maybe more time,
yeah,
right? So when the output is coming from their team,
yeah,
saying that, sir, ma'am, these are the things which we found out, and these are the
right,
analytics, these are the, I mean, somebody needs to consume that. Most
yeah,
of the times a leader would consume and then maybe take it up to the next leader or management skill,
yeah,
and that I think is very important.
awesome,
So
awesome,
like, so that would be it. But just don't jump into, again, like, starting
yeah.
to code, for example. I mean, yeah, I mean,
Then
if
you
you're not in
lost
that field,
somewhere, you lost
yeah,
somewhere,
you get
yeah,
lost somewhere. And I think that's not the whole point of
yeah.
being a leader and trying to learn from the data science.
Awesome. So I really appreciate your thoughts and your, the resources you have provided. It's of course going to be helpful for leaders as well as for the people who are starting their career. And definitely I'm going to put down those resources in description as well. So if anybody
Yeah,
would have any questions, query, they can go through those resources. Along with it, I'm also going to put your LinkedIn profile over there as well. So
yeah,
somebody who wish to follow you, they wanted to connect with you, they
yeah,
can
absolutely.
definitely do that.
Happy to do so. Yeah, happy to do, and happy to help people.
Yeah.
Thank you, Raj, for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me to talk a bit
Pleasure
of my
is us.
experience.
Pleasure is us, yes, Mr. Nilashis. You
Yeah,
are amazing leader, I would say. And I always, admire from you.
Yeah.
You are a guiding light to many, to be
Yeah.
honestly
So
saying.
wish you all the best and stay safe and
Yeah,
talk to you soon, Raj. Bye.
sure, sure. Thank you
Bye
so
bye.
much.